Anchor.com?
Yes.
All one word?
Yes. / Rational Radio. Can I sit down, please?
Here?
Yep.
You don't think you're doing this to me. I have avoided this for how long?
A long time.
And you owe me for this one. Literally.
Put on yours.
This is Just Keep Breathing with your host, Richard Curtin on Rational Radio.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rational Radio on Ustream. This is Just Keep Breathing. I am your host, Richard Curtin. In studio guest today, Melissa Timmerman.
Hello, Richard.
You gotta talk right into the mic, bring it right up to you, yeah.
Hello, Richard.
Hello, Tina. Uh-oh.
Tina.
Uh-oh.
Tina's my wife.
Uh-oh, there it is.
Test.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Did you hear it? You hear it all going crazy? I don't have a...
You don't have a what?
All right. I'm not sure you're on.
I don't think I am. I
Okay.
can't hear myself.
Let's do all the mic tests. Test, mic.
Test.
Yep,
Test.
you're on.
Test.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Just Keep Breathing on Rational Radio on Ustream. I'm your host again, Richard Curtin, and my in-studio guest, the newlywed, Melissa Timmerman. How are you?
I'm great, Richard. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Let's talk a minute about gay marriage.
Ooh, hot topic.
It got approved today in France.
Yay!
So if you and Tina got married in Paris, you would be legally wed.
In Paris.
In Paris.
In France.
In France.
Yes.
But I think that's really exciting. I mean, so I want to go back to September of 2012 when you and Tina went to Las Vegas and got married.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
And so, let's talk about that experience for just a minute. You and Tina were together for how long?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half. And then you got engaged, did the whole 9 yards.
Down on one knee.
Just like assimilated people.
Asked her father for permission, or his blessing, I should say, and her mother, which we received. Did the whole 9 yards. Decided that we were going to be married in Vegas at the Wynn Hotel.
And then you did get married in the Wynn Hotel.
We did.
Can we talk about your little document that you had to sign?
Absolutely.
You had to sign a document basically saying that you realized and understood that marriage was not legal in the state of Nevada, and basically you were not truly getting married.
That is correct. And they were very adamant in the document that basically it was a spiritual ceremony only, in whatever spiritual sense you wanted it to be in. But it was duly noted that it was not a legal ceremony recognized either by the city of Las Vegas or the state of Nevada.
Don't you think they could have done this before the actual wedding? I mean, before the actual ceremony?
Absolutely. They could have sent us an attachment in an email, because God knows we received enough emails going back and forth and all the correspondence. But it was a little knife in the back, so to speak, the day of the wedding. Here we are nervous and hoping everybody's having a good time and everything's going to go well, and then, oh, well, here's that big slap in the face, knife in the back. Oh, you're not legally recognized in the state of Nevada. So, yes, it hurt, but we were also there to have more of a spiritual ceremony than we were legal.
And so you did, I mean, and it was a really beautiful ceremony. I was there, and so I know it feels like you're married because of the ceremony. Does it change things?
No, actually, well, I think it's changed things actually for the better.
I mean, but do you have a different idea in your head about your partnership. Just say you went home tonight and you guys got into a fight.
In my eyes, what we did was real, and if we did get in that fight tonight, the first thing I would think of is, oh, guess what? It's not so easy to walk out that door anymore. You've made a commitment before, in our eyes, before God and our family and friends, that was taken very seriously.
And that's kind of my point. Even though in the state of Nevada, and the state of Nevada does not recognize your union,
Right.
The paperwork, all that you signed, basically is binding.
Yes, absolutely, it's binding. They actually gave us a certificate, if you will, that says that we had a ceremony at the Wynn Hotel, that it was presided over by Reverend Wright, who we selected, and in our eyes, until it is legal, that was our marriage certificate, and we take that very seriously. It was a nice gesture on the Wynn's part. It obviously would have been better if the state of Nevada would have backed that as a legal document. But in our eyes, that's our marriage license at this time.
And yes, I would think that it is a marriage license.
Absolutely, it is.
In the event that Nevada passes marriage equality, gay marriage rights, does your wedding get grandfathered in? Does it get recognized at a later time?
I would hope so.
Okay.
I would think it would. I don't know. We didn't obviously go to the courthouse and receive a legal document as a marriage license that said, you're going to be wed on this date. But that would be definitely something that we would research and go back to, the hotel and say, okay, can you guys help us with this? Or what do we need to do to get the ball rolling on that, actually have this recognized? So, yeah, absolutely, we would do that in a heartbeat.
What do you think is going to happen in June? In June, for those listeners, in June, the Supreme Court is going to make a ruling on DOMA and Proposition 8.
I honestly think that they're going to throw Proposition 8 back to it being a state issue, and that they are going to rule in favor of DOMA. I think they're going to split it. I think
it's going to go the other way.
Really?
I think they're going to rule in favor of Proposition 8 because it was voted on by the people. But I think they're going to say that DOMA is unconstitutional because it is prejudice and separatist.
It is separatist.
It is, and it basically, yeah. So I think it's going to go the other way. But I think you're right. I think there's going to be a split.
It's going to be a split either way. They're not going to give us everything that we want straight off the bat the first time it's come across.
However, they won't hear it again for another 50 years.
Then let's hope we do get the ruling.
So,
but
so I think at some point, I think at some point, I mean, we don't really want them to hear Proposition 8 again.
No.
We do want them to hear DOMA again, or if they, or marriage equality. And I'll tell you, I'm not well enough versed in Supreme Court rulings.
I'm not either.
I have a surprise for you.
Oh.
I have audio from your wedding, and we're going to listen to it now. This is the wedding reception,
Oh God! I hope I didn't say anything awful.
and I'm not exactly sure who this is, but we'll talk about it when we're done.
Carol says she's on a roll. He wants me to get on with it. I'm already writing in my head. Do you stand?
Dear father-in-law.
You gotta do as you tell them.
I'm still learning that part.
That's the Clifford side, just FYI.
All I can say is a smashing day. It really is wonderful. It's we haven't known Melissa for more than a year or two, and you're absolutely the most wonderful person that Tina could have partnered, become a partner with. And you remind me of quite some other members of our family that aren't here today. You smile at every opportunity, and you're just wonderful to be around. And I can definitely see why Tina went head over heels for you. When about a year and a half ago or something, it was just like a hurricane came through, and Tina said, "I'm making some changes." We looked at each other, and I can definitely see that. There's a few people that I would love to have had be here today. We all know, from your side of the family, from my side of the family, I won't go into detail with the names, but they would enjoy being here. This is why I had a tear or two run down my eye at the ceremony, at the cheek at the ceremony. But I would like to propose a toast to you, to your future happiness together. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. And that is your father-in-law at your wedding, and your wedding reception, and saying some really beautiful things.
He did.
And so, you know, when we hear all these horror stories about, you know, about weddings that have been, we'll just call them banned, and people didn't show up, and even in your wedding, I mean, at some point, some of your family members didn't show up and wouldn't show up because it's two girls getting married.
Right.
But on the positive side, you have Tina's parents who have been extremely accepting, and so we have really a good fairy tale story, if you will.
I think so. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and it's sweet, and it's good. And, I mean, don't you feel like the tide is changing?
Absolutely, it's changing all around us. I see it every day on Facebook, in the news, in the media, on television, in movies, in customer service, the way you're treated at sitting in a restaurant. We're very, I think some people take it for granted in Dallas, and maybe the Oaklawn uptown area of just how open we can be. May not be that way in Plano, but I definitely don't have any problems when I'm in Whole Foods with my wife and I want to kiss her on the cheek or hold her hand. I feel very comfortable doing that. So yes, times have changed. It's certainly not the way it was when I was 16, 18 years old first coming out.
Do you think the kids that are 16, 18, 22, 25 are taking it a little for granted?
Yes, I do. They don't know what we went through. They don't know that, you know, you were immediately stereotyped if you played basketball or softball if you were a girl in high school. When I was in high school, that, you know, you were a dyke or a lesbian.
Is that stereotyping?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you?
Yeah. What I find very interesting is that when I was...
I heard drama fag all the time.
Yeah.
Drama fag.
Yeah. When I was
okay.
growing up, you knew who...
Hey.
You knew, exactly. Hey, girl, hey. You knew who was gay and who wasn't by the way they looked, by the way they presented themselves, by the way they spoke. It is not like...
Yeah, we had code words.
Absolutely.
We had code words, and we had code... Do you know that wearing your ball cap backwards for gay men was a sign that you performed oral sex?
Well, then I must have been confused as a gay man because I wore mine backwards a lot.
And this is like in the 70s.
Well, I also heard
and
that if you wore a signet ring, a pinky ring,
Yes.
either on your left or your right, whether you were male or female,
Yes.
that designated that you were gay.
Well, you remember the earring to the left or right?
Absolutely.
That was another thing, the earring. And there were all kinds of little things like that. And then, of course, the whole hanky code.
Oh, girl, that's a whole nother story.
And so were there codes, were there things like that with women?
I don't know that they were necessarily codes.
Cues, clues?
Clues, shorter haircuts, maybe a little
The
butcher.
mullet.
yes.
Oh,
the
wow.
I had one.
You had a mullet.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
you did.
Yeah, I did.
Wow, I've got pictures of you in that mullet.
We don't need to get those pictures out, but thank you. Yeah, I had one. Hateful. But yeah.
Ooh, we all had a mullet at some point. I don't know how. Mine wasn't really a mullet.
No, mine was.
Mine was just really kind of longer and back. I mean, but yours was a mullet.
I had the spiky
Yeah.
on top,
And then
the perm in the back, and the tail, and
oh dear.
yes, it was not.
It was really an ugly look.
Yeah,
It really was.
I kind of don't like that part.
We thought it was hot then.
Oh, it was all the rage. That was the style. That's what you did. But it's horrid. And if you get any of those pictures out, we're gonna have another conversation.
We're gonna have to find one. I saw one recently. We were at Jack Polachek's house. Do you remember it?
Oh God, there's no telling.
We were at Jack Polachek's house.
Is it the one of you and I?
Uh huh. Yeah.
I've got that.
And you're like looking from the, well, I've got one too. And you're looking at the side, and yeah, mullet to the core.
That's when I first started working at Swellens.
So let's talk about your growing up. You had an interesting time growing up in
Neptune Beach, Florida,
Neptune Beach, Florida.
right outside of Jacksonville.
So it's hot.
It's very humid.
It's very humid, and it's very hot. It's very hot.
In the winter times, it's a little bit nicer.
And in Neptune Beach, there's a lot of shark activity.
There is.
There really is a lot of shark activity. I noticed that not too long ago when Tina was talking about her little shark thing. You know, I did a little.
She tracks them.
What's the name of the shark? Ugh.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's been several weeks, and I got on and I looked, and really, that is shark-infested water. It is really shark-infested water.
It is right off the shore of Jacksonville, probably from South Georgia down to about Daytona is the mating grounds for several different species.
It's crazy how, I mean, really, it's crazy. It is shark-infested water.
Well, there's a lot of shrimping that goes around in that area, and fishing and commercial fishing. So that's probably what brings a lot of them too.
Do sharks eat shrimp?
I don't think so. I think they eat humans.
No, I think they eat other big fish.
No, they do.
They eat other big fish like tuna, and there's no seals in Florida, are there?
The water's not cold enough.
It's not okay. So the only reason that they eat humans is because they think that they're something, because they're really, you know, stupid animals, or they're stupid fish.
Yes, they're not very smart.
Well, I mean, we are in their habitat.
Well, yeah.
Splashing around on usually boards that make them think that we are fish to eat.
To the best of my knowledge, I don't remember there ever being a shark attack where I am from. I've seen them, swam with them.
What do you mean you swam with them?
Well, there used to be a running joke that said that if you were in the water off of where I lived, if you'd been in the water for 10 minutes, you had been looked at by a shark. So I don't know if that was just a joke or...
No, it's not. It is shark-infested water.
So
seriously. And I know this because I just went and I was watching the little, I can't remember her name. It's a female shark.
I want to say like Miss Ellie, but that's not it.
Yeah, something like that though. Nellie, or I think you might be right. So, and I was just looking at the statistics in the area, and I mean, it is shark-infested water, and this is information that I just pulled off the internet like a month ago.
Sure.
Shark-infested water. Lots of sharks. Have you ever seen one while you're swimming? Did you ever go snorkeling?
No, the water in that area was pretty brackish.
Yeah.
So, obviously it's not the best for snorkeling, but I did surf a lot as a child. I was always in the water. I was fortunate enough to grow up 2 houses off the beach, so pretty much when there was any free time, that's what I did, was I played on the beach or in the water, surfing, frisbee, you name it. Very active as a child, so on the beach.
With the sharks?
With the sharks.
So did you ever, like, look over and see a fin?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And generally in the summer times, the lifeguards would tell us to get out of the water. I've actually caught a couple in what's called a seine net. It is this really long net that you basically have one end on the shore and the other end out, and you just kind of come around and make a U and catch a bunch of fish, and we caught several in there, baby ones. They're very interesting creatures. I used to collect a lot of shark's teeth as a child. You can find them everywhere. So yeah, but it's not anything that I ever wanted to mess with. If I saw one, I got away from them.
Something I also noticed is this is also a really good area of beach for shells.
It is a very good area. Mary Lee.
Mary Lee is the name of the shark.
Yes.
And I was going to say Allie.
It was, yeah.
And I knew it wasn't Allie because I wanted to say it was 2 syllables. Mary Lee.
Mary Lee.
And I wonder where Mary Lee is now.
I don't know. My wife tracks on her phone where she is. The last time I think she was headed towards colder waters up north.
Yeah, moving north.
Mhm.
The last time I saw it, but I honestly can't say that I'm very afraid of sharks.
So am I, and I grew up with them.
And I have really even more of a horror of alligators. I am terrified of alligators.
Alligators don't bother me.
I don't understand. I do understand why. Have I ever told you why?
No.
When I was like 7 or 8, I was still living in Connecticut. I was watching the Wonderful World of Disney, and it was Animal Kingdom. Do you remember that?
I loved that show.
And I loved it too. And they were showing a migration of the buffalo. It wasn't a buffalo. It was the wildebeest. And during this whole migration of the wildebeest, it was all videoed and filmed, and they showed a zebra drinking at the edge of the water, and an alligator just went and clamped on its head and drug it into the water, and it was over. And so I can't stand at the edge of the water and look in because I just know there's going to be an alligator there that's going to grab my head.
I used to feed an alligator when I was a child.
When we moved to Alabama, we did the whole Okefenokee Swamp.
Yes.
And, did the alligator tour, and just, ugh.
We had a retaining ditch at the end of my street, one of the streets that I grew up on. And there was an alligator down there named Charlie, probably 10 to 12 feet long, which is a very large alligator. And my dad would take my sister and I down there at the end of the night after dinner, and we would feed Charlie. Well, Charlie ended up getting too big, and the game wardens came and got him. But I can remember just handing Charlie a chicken leg. I mean, not like as close as you and I are, but throwing it and, keeping a respectful distance. But
yeah.
They've never
20 feet.
Maybe 10. Maybe from here to the wall. Maybe
It'd be
10.
20 for me.
Yeah.
I am horrified of alligators.
No wonder you went to Auburn. You don't like the Florida Gators.
No, well, I wouldn't go to Florida anyway. I am not a Florida fan.
I know.
It is too hot, and it is too humid, and I do think that the beaches are beautiful. And my point a minute ago was that this particular area of beach is extremely plentiful of shells.
Yes, it is.
And it is, in fact, even a little bit more north. The shells get a little bit bigger, but this particular area of beach is really prolific in a lot of large, interesting shells.
We actually were in Florida a couple weeks ago, and that's one of our favorite pastimes is to actually walk on the beach and go shelling. We went to a new area this time, which
Is that what it's called? Shelling?
well, I think that's what
We're going to go shelling. Hi, Dara. Dara, let's go shelling. Let's have a cup of coffee and go shelling.
How did you know? We do start by Starbucks first.
Let's go shelling at the beach. I want to get some shells. You want to go shelling? Let's go shelling.
Yes, we do. We go shelling.
So it's called shelling.
I guess.
Kind of like teaking. That's antiquing.
Antiquing,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we enjoy it. It's fun.
And how big do the shells get?
Well, the ones that we usually find are 2 or 3 inches. Most of the shells that we find have had some type of mollusk or something, snail or something that's lived in them at some point in that shell's life. Some of them are very decayed from the water erosion and the sand erosion. Some of them are very delicate. There's all different kinds.
Well, I got the idea that that you can even find shells that are really large.
Absolutely, you can, especially after a storm. If there's a northeaster that's come in, or possibly a hurricane, that's the time you want to be on the beach because you can find all kinds of stuff. Dollar bills, cans, I mean, you name it. I found it as a kid and as an adult. We tend to go for the bigger ones, the biggest ones that we can find.
So do I.
Yes, I've heard that about you.
I love the big ones.
Don't we all?
Shelling. We're talking about shelling.
Yes, shelling.
So growing up in Florida, what do you think that the benefits to growing up in Florida would be? When you look back and you think, I'm really thankful for my childhood because
I was able to grow up 2 houses off the beach. I was able to have the Atlantic Ocean as my backyard. I was able to...
And so why is that a benefit, though?
Well, I don't think people in Iowa can say would be...
No, but I bet they can say that I'm really thankful for the cornfields because they provided a great place to, play hide and seek. Or I mean, what did, other than the obvious, what did the ocean provide?
Well, the ocean obviously provided us food, as with the cornfields in Iowa.
So you did go fishing and you ate fish out of the ocean?
Grew up eating fish, shrimp, crabs, anything that we could get out of the ocean fresh.
Tuna?
Yes, absolutely.
But you have to go deeper into the ocean for that. Did you have a boat?
No, my dad and I did have a boat. We had a little John boat, but it wasn't deep enough to go any deep sea fishing. This was just stuff just right off the shore, close in. So, and if we couldn't,
could you eat shark? Did you ever eat shark? Because shark meat is good.
I'm sure.
I like shark meat. I like swordfish better, but I like shark meat. It's tender because of the way the fish pees.
I never knew that. But okay.
Pees out of its pores, just like, and so it tenderizes the meat.
See, a non-Floridian has taught me something.
Yeah, the swordfish I think is like that too. I'm not sure, but I like shark meat. It's good.
It is good. Pretty much any seafood I will eat, and that was very plentiful as a child. And if we didn't catch it ourselves, we went and bought it off the boat fresh. So.
Give the old man a fish. That's a story about my grandfather. He would stand on the beach on the breaker as the boats were coming in Cape Cod, in Provincetown, in Cape Cod. He lived in East Harwich, and we would go up there for summers. Cool. And when we were all standing on the breakers and the fishing boats would come in, we would yell, "Give the old man a fish! Give the old man a fish!"
Did anybody ever
and
do
so
it?
they would throw them. They would throw us, fish for the old man, and by the end of the day we had 10. Because we do it to everybody. We'd only pick one side, but we'd have like a little container on the other side. Give the old man a fish! It's funny because, whenever we saw him, we would always say, "Give the old man a fish." So, did you fish?
Sure, I fished. Actually, my grandfather in South Carolina is the one that actually taught me to fish. I was very fortunate to have my maternal grandparents live on property with us, but my dad's parents lived in South Carolina, and my grandfather there was a huge fisherman, as well as most of his family. So that's actually who taught me how to fish in lakes.
I was going to say, but not in the ocean.
No. They lived in Charleston, so they were close to the ocean, but we were always fished in lakes and ponds. So, and I loved it. There was a pier. There actually still is a pier, the Jacksonville Beach Pier. And we would go down there when they would come to visit and fish together, and that was a very cherished childhood memory for me, to get to spend that time with my grandfather.
And so you ended up in Texas.
Yes.
And I know that you did move here and all kinds of drama in the meantime, but your parents lived in Plano for a while.
They did. My dad transferred with his company that he was working for, and actually retired in Plano. and my sister was living here before that, and I moved here after everyone, and they all left, and I stayed. So.
I didn't know Paige was here. Paige is your sister. I didn't know that Paige lived in Texas.
My nephew was actually born here in St. Paul's.
Oh. St. Paul, Texas?
No, St. Paul Hospital.
St. Paul Hospital in Dallas.
Yep, which is now, the whole...
And so do you imagine that you will retire to the beach? I know that it is sort of your goal to get back there.
It is. We have discussed it, and we are continuing to discuss it. Of course, hopefully I'm not anywhere near retirement age, but yeah, that is the ultimate plan, that we would be on or near the water. So.
Well, I think, look at Jennifer Garner, one of the most 100 influential people in the world. She's gone from total obscurity to 100 of the most influential people in the world. Rand Paul is also someone else, and he kind of scares me. So, we're going to get back to your marriage.
Okay.
You get married. If you came home today and found Tina with another person, and you wanted to break up, do you have to get divorced?
No,
No.
because our marriage is not legally recognized in any state.
In any state. It's infuriating, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Not
I want to get divorced.
why?
I don't know. I think it would be fun.
Fun?
Yeah.
No. I don't think it would.
I've been through hell. I can't imagine that divorce is any worse.
I mean, I've had a few that have felt like divorces, but no, I don't think I would want to get divorced.
Yeah, I'm really only playing. It is my goal to see gay marriage equality by 2015.
I think that's a very realistic goal.
I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to be federally mandated.
I hope so.
And France approved it today, and so I am really kind of tired of being a follower.
I agree.
And I think at some point, America and Americans have always been leaders, and I think we need to take that back, because I don't think we lead anymore, and I don't think the world looks at us as leaders. In fact, I think that the world kind of laughs at us a little.
I totally agree with you.
And it's kind of infuriating. However, I've been reminded, because of several things, several movies that have come out recently, Lincoln being one of them, that we will say that slavery ended in 1870 to 1880. And I know that took some time, so we'll just say that we'll say the black race in America has been on a quest to better themselves really for about 100 years. And we have a black president, and so I think it's happening quicker than I really thought.
I never thought that it would happen in my lifetime.
And so I think, recently someone said to me, I don't understand why, and I'm gonna move away from the black comment I was gonna make into a female comment. A female said to me, I don't understand why you have to call it marriage. Why can't it be called something else? And my response to her was, well, I'll put it this way for you. And I don't know why you would want to call it gender equality. I don't know why you can't call it something else. Like, how about a woman's opinion instead of equal rights to vote?
Right.
How about we just call it a woman's opinion? And don't you think at some point that they will break that up? Don't you think that they will separate it?
Yes.
Because it's not called a woman's right to vote. It's called a woman's right to voice her opinion.
Right.
And so at some point, don't you think that if it's called something else, that it'll be counted differently?
Absolutely, I do.
And so, and she was really stunned and was like, I've never really thought about it that way. And I said, exactly. Well, then please start thinking about it that way.
Exactly.
Because if you call it something else, it will be viewed
It will always be something else.
something else.
Right.
It is not the same, because a turtle is a turtle and a crab is a crab.
Right.
And so at some point you can't call a turtle a crab, because they are two different things.
Exactly.
And if you say civil union and marriage, you can't, they are just not going to be viewed the same.
No, they're not. They actually will probably even be viewed as lesser than.
Yeah. Or maybe, how about in the end, more than?
Could be.
It could be.
Absolutely. It could go either way.
It could, but what we know is it will be viewed differently, and therefore different things will happen to the different things. You can't make a circle into a square.
Right.
And so, and that was kind of my point with you know, I think, you know, black equality, it's surprising when you really just kind of look at the numbers and how much time has gone by. And it really hasn't been that much time.
No, not near. Comparatively speaking, no, not as much time.
And I think maybe the struggle was a little harder and a little longer. But I also think that things took longer before.
Right.
You know, if
The world was a completely different place.
it was, I mean, we didn't have social media, we didn't have
No.
computers, we didn't. I can talk to anybody, anywhere,
Right.
for free
Anytime you want.
at any time we want, really, pretty much.
Right.
And we can follow sharks on our phone,
We can follow Mary Lee.
and it really is a different time, and so things are moving really quickly. It's very odd.
Well, and part of things are moving quickly in the Dallas area is for your support. You have been very much an advocate.
I have.
And Tina and I appreciate you being a voice for us and for everyone else that we know and everyone else that we don't know that possibly wants to do this.
Well, thank you. And we're having a marriage equality. We're actually having a gay equality rally and a march in June, and I'll have details really soon.
Very good.
I think we're also going to be filming my new video, which is called Fred is Dead. It's an anti-Westboro Baptist Church song, and the video will follow that pretty shortly after. I've not discussed the Boston Marathon on this show at all. One, I haven't been having regular shows. However, the Boston Marathon, I'm afraid, is going to change public events everywhere. And
I don't necessarily agree with you.
and it scares me.
I am not. Yeah, I think there will be a Band-Aid on public events. I think if it changes public events, it'll change public events for the first couple months, maybe 6 months, and then everything's going to fall back into how you go to a Cowboys game or how you go to the opera, if you will, whatever. It's all gonna
I think
fall
they're
back
a
into
little bit more
place.
controlled. I'm talking about public events on streets. I'm talking about parades. I'm talking about marches or running. I'm talking about festivals. I'm talking about major public events that you can just walk up to.
Interesting.
I'm worried about how things are going to be spectated
Okay.
and how they are going to provide security for the spectators.
Well, they provided security for this one, but obviously not the best, because the coverage that I saw, which I watched a lot of, there was actually 2 bomb sweeps that went through the whole route prior to the race, the beginning of the race, and also during the race, right before the first finishers came across the finish line. So obviously, from what we've seen, from that last inspection to maybe an hour, hour and a half later is when those guys actually entered by foot. Obviously no metal detectors, nothing to go through. Just walked up from probably the subway or wherever, cab, who knows, and unfortunately did what they did. So.
And there's my fear. There it is, exactly.
I haven't really thought about it from that perspective. That's interesting.
So at some point, how is that going to change how we get into an event, how we move around an event, how we spectate events?
It could.
And it is going to. The 100 most influential people in the world. Should we do a 100 cap?
Sure.
Jay-Z. He is referred to as the Emperor of New York. Do you know who Jay-Z is?
Absolutely.
Of course. Valerie Jarrett.
I have no idea who that is.
She's Obama's advisor.
Huh.
She's the first among equals. Oh Hyun Kwan, the galaxy's giant. I have no idea who that is. Okay. Scooter Braun.
Movie star?
Nope. He's a talent manager, and he is 31 years old, and he's a radar for undiscovered talent.
Based out of?
Most people probably don't know is that Scooter has found a way to connect this heart to everything he does, incorporating a philanthropic side in all his initiatives. I'm pretty confident he will be influencing people for generations to come, says Katzenberg, CEO of DreamWorks Animation. I would imagine that he is in L.A. Kevin Systrom. He gives us life in pictures. Okay, don't know who that is. Michael Kors.
Fashion designer.
Fashion designer.
Who has sold out to Macy's and Dillard's and everyone that'll sell his products.
Standard bearer of American sportswear. Alvin Roars.
No clue.
Yep, me either. Palaniappan Chidambaram, India's next prime minister.
Okay.
Okay. Gina Reinhardt, Australian mining magnate. Ren Zengeffi, the enigma of Shazan. He's a telecom chief. Marcus Persson and Jens Bergenstein. Wow. They were 33, both of them, who goes by Notch, known as Jeb, has sold some 25 million copies of children's toys. It looks like children's toys. Yep. Okay, I'm not sure what Minecraft is. Elon Musk.
He's nice looking.
Yep. SpaceX and Tesla founder. Igor Session, Putin's man of force. Don't know who that is. Don't know who this. Wow, who are these people? Shonda Rhimes, a visionary of TV drama. She's a storyteller. I would think that these names should be more familiar to us. We are probably a quarter of the way through, and I've known 3. Well, maybe more.
I know this one.
LeBron James, basketball star.
Overrated.
David Einhorn, barbarian at the gate.
Writer?
He's a hedge fund manager.
My guesses are awful.
Magnus Carlsen. He is chairman of the board of. He's 22 years old, and he apparently plays chess. Okay.
And these are the 100 most influential people in the world?
Yes. Gary Kasparov wrote, chess history is best viewed through the game evolution, the Romantic era of the 19th century, the hypomodernism of the early 20th, the post-World War II dominance of the Soviet school. The elite chess players of today are of no school. They hail from all over the world, as illustrated by current world champion Viswanathan Anand of India and young Norwegian Magnus Carlsen, who is due to challenge Anand for the championship this year. I had the opportunity to train Carlsen in 2009, and his intuitive style conserves the mystique of chess at a time when every CPU-enhanced fan thinks the game is easy. Carlsen is as charismatic and independent as he is talented. If he can rekindle the world's fascination with the royal game, we will soon be living in Carlsen era.
I will so much sleep better now that you've shared that with me.
He's one of the 100 most influential people in America, in the world.
I am going to rest so well tonight. Thank you, Richard, for that.
Netflix chief content officer Ted Sarandos. Sheryl Sandberg, feminism's new boss.
She's Facebook.
Yes, she is. Okay.
So I've known 2. You've known 3.
Maybe 4.
Okay.
Okay. Influence times 2. The list most powerful couples.
I bet you the Obamas are on there.
The Obamas, Michelle and Barack. The Carters, Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Not Jimmy and Roslyn.
Did you know, right, did you know that Jay-Z's last name was Carter?
Yes, I did.
I did not.
Mhm.
The Exes, Jinping and Peng Wang.
Good insight.
Okay, more leaders, and they are Rand Paul.
Why does he scare you?
I think, Tea Party.
Philosophy.
How about Tea Party? Tea Party scares me.
Okay.
I think that the Tea Party, they deny this, but they say that they're not steeped in Christianity. But
I don't buy it.
I think the Tea Party is steeped in Christianity, and I think that there cannot be Christianity in politics.
I agree.
I don't think there can be religious beliefs in politics.
Thank you for making that a broader statement.
Because I just don't. Not all people are Christians.
No.
Not all people are Jews. Not all people are Baptists. Not all people are atheists. Not all people are agnostic. And so you just can't have religious views in law making or political views.
I agree.
And if you do,
We do.
and if you do it, okay. Leaders, Rand Paul. Let's read about him. When the Tea Party movement warranted to send a message to the Senate in 2010, it elected a clear-sighted eye doctor from a bluegrass state in a D.C. too often defined by venal equivocations of a permanent political class more interested in consolidating its own power than upholding the Constitution or defending the common good. Senator Rand Paul is a voice of reason, awakening the public to what must be done to restore our prosperity and preserve the blessings of liberty for future generations. His brand of libertarian-leaning conservatism attracts young voters, and recently he inspired the nation with his Capper-esque filibuster demanding basic answers about our use of drones. I sent him some caribou jerky from Alaska to help keep up his strength on the Senate floor. There's more where that came from for this bold senator with 2020 vision, willing to take a stand for liberty. Who wrote that? Sarah Palin.
Oh, how appropriate.
Barack Obama. Chris Christie. She's fat. He is really, really fat.
He is a large man.
I always forget how big he is until I see pictures of him.
The new face of the Republican
Because
Party.
she big. She real big. Yep, the new face. John Brennan. Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, a war-torn state's figure of hope. He is the president of Somalia. I skipped a couple because I can't pronounce their names. Wayne LaPierre, Sledgehammer for the Second Amendment. Kamala Harris, California's triple threat.
Apparently, President Obama got in a little hot water with her.
Really?
He apparently, the media called that he made a very sexist statement towards her because I believe, and I paraphrase, that he called her one of the best-looking attorneys he had ever seen. And
She cute.
she's beautiful, I think. But apparently that was seen as sexist
Oh.
because
So you can't tell someone that they're good looking anymore? What
Apparently
if he
not.
said that to a man?
oh,
If he said that to a man, would it be sexist?
no,
If I said it to a man, would it be sexist?
no, they would just probably say, "Hey, girl, I think you're cute too."
Hey, girl. I just think a lot of it is taken way too out of context and way too far.
He was giving her a genuine compliment, I believe.
But he was also making her feel beautiful. And apparently you can't do that anymore.
No, you can't.
And
Everything's generic.
a woman. Anyway. I'm going to move on.
Okay.
Wilfredo de Jesus, a transformative Christian voice. Pastor Choco, better known as Kim Jong-un. Crazy ass son of a bitch is what I think that is translating.
Dangerous as well.
And right, Elena Kagan, Joe Biden, Mario Draghi, Joyce Banda, African exemplar, Pope Francis. Really, I think artists, the most influential artists: Jennifer Lawrence, Christina Aguilera.
Why is she the most influential?
She's a versatile voice built to last, said Celine Dion.
Okay,
Steven Spielberg,
that I agree with.
Jonathan Ivey, Apple's Jedi Master. Alex Atalia, he is a cook. Ed Ruscha, he took pop forward. I have no idea who that is. Oh, he's an artist. Cool. Mindy Kaling, Miguel, he's a soul seducer. Jenna Lyons, she's from J. Crew. George Saunders, Bryan Cranston, Jimmy Kimmel, Wang Shu, artists. Hilary Mantel, Frank Ocean, Jimmy Fallon, and our 100 or our list of pioneers we are going to save for another time. You've been listening to Just Keep Breathing on RationalBroadcasting.com. I want to thank my newlywed. Congratulations on your marriage. You're working on 1 year.
Thank you. Yep.
Well, you're working on, what, 6 months?
7 months.
And so 1 year is in September. Good luck.
Thank you.
What was the hardest thing about getting married?
Trying not to cry while walking down the aisle.
And so this is Just Keep Breathing, reminding you that if you cry down the aisle, you are not getting married. Don't cry when you walk down the aisle. Why?
It was just so emotional and such a wonderful, probably the best moment of my life so far.
You've been listening to Just Keep Breathing with my special guest, first-time guest, Melissa Timmerman. Thank you for tuning in. We're here every Tuesday, every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. Have a great day. We'll see you tonight at the Rainbow Lounge for Miss Gay Icon US of A. I will be hosting, and we wish you nothing but the best. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Bye.